until the day when all are one.
Hey there, and welcome back to Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, the game. As you recall, in the last episode, I showed you the finalized version of G1 Breakaway. And now, just like I said, we'll be taking a look at a fully upgraded version of the Autobot leader himself, Optimus Prime. And this guy, this one was a huge overhaul from when I showed you last. In fact, once you see what you would have got, you're gonna be really glad that I took my time with this. But, let's get to it already, shall we? Now, behold, masterpiece, G1 Colors, Optimus Prime. Oh, if you only knew how much work went into this. He is probably one of my favorite skins in this entire pack. Because once you see what he was originally going to be, you're gonna be so glad you didn't get that. Because, trust me, what I had before was rancid. What I have now is a million times better. Especially since I got the whole masterpiece overhaul treatment. Because I went through every spot on his beautiful body and made it as CGI accurate as possible. And believe me, there were a lot of pieces changed. But as usual, we'll stick to the G1 base changes for the most part. Anyway, here is a general turnaround of him in-game. You can't look at this and tell me you don't see G1 Optimus. But yeah, that's a general showcase. I'll bring up some renders of him so we can get a closer look at him and see all the changes and compare him to what we originally were going to get. And here we have a full frontal render of the Autobot leader Optimus Prime in his masterpiece G1 color scheme. And yeah, this is a beauty. I'm still trying to work out a bit of the shading when it comes to rendering, so it's not perfect, but it's a good place to start. But yeah, here's a just general look at him, you know. He looks pretty good, doesn't he? There were a lot of minor enhancements added to him, which I'll try and keep that limited, but I'll point them out if it really is necessary. Alright, now that is what you're going to get, more or less. This is more or less done. I think the diffuse is done. He just might need a little bit more spec work. I think the normals are done, so just spec work for the most part. This is what you're getting. This is what you were going to get. Yeah. This is all kinds of bad. Like, seriously. I don't think you realize just how fortunate it is that you're not getting this. Because this, God, I don't know what I was thinking in a lot of these older skins, because this is garbage for a number of reasons. I mean, first, he doesn't have the masterpiece treatments, so naturally, he's not gonna look like a finalized CGI character. And the color is just wrong. It's like, what, a fainted, like, reddish purple? It's not the right color red at all. You know? It's not good, man. It's not good at all. I mean, the general style is, yes, the same, but how it was done is just sloppy and bad. Here's a view from the back, which will show you a little more. Oh, the back. Those top back panels. Oh, good heavens. Yeah, I'm sure you could catch a few enhancements right off the bat, huh? Well, that's just the basis. Let's get into exactly what has been changed with this guy. Let's start up with the head. Okay, there's a lot to keep track of here, so I'll do my best. Okay, well, generally, the head style is the same. Generally speaking, what I did for this, I did for the newer version. I decided to change his faceplate design a little bit. Now, instead of having the mouth section be full-on silver, I decided to tighten it up, I guess. So now the blue covers most of the side of the head, and actually goes onto his faceplates, but not all the way. Just enough to kind of match what you see on the G1 design. It was a design choice that I just felt worked better. But yeah, I think for G1 designs, that's the most prominent change I made. There's of course a lot of minor enhancements in there, but that's a project for another time. Oh, however, he's got a scratch job going on now. You see that? Yeah. Much better. Also, his color scheme. Let me address on that a little bit. The blue I originally had is a bold, dark blue, right? But looking at renders of G1 Optimus, that isn't technically right. So instead, I've kind of gone for a more faded, a bit more purple color. I think this is a closer match to the actual G1 Optimus. I've also tightened up his chin a little bit. It's not so bright as it was in the original, as you can see. Oh, guy. That is just all kinds of ugly. Yeah, that's most I can think of for the head. There's just a lot of overall making the head more blue, adjusting the color for it. That's it in a nutshell for the head, I suppose. Now, moving over to the torso section, you can see how much of a brighter red he is, right? I think that is a much better color than the previous version. It's more of a reddish orange color, not too orange, but just a little hint of it to make it right. I think I nailed it on the chest, or the chest doors. You can see he is a lot brighter. That's part of the enhancement, because a lot of these default skins are really dark, especially the Dark of the Moon base for Prime. They went crazy dark on some parts, and I had to do some adapting for the Revenge of the Fallen texture and make it work for this. I won't really get into that here, but bear that in mind. I think the stripes on his chest are much better. I think my originals were too white. These are a lot darker, look more natural. Okay, well, moving on to the arms. Here's a look at his shoulder section. And a bit of his back, too. So, his shoulder pad got really cleaned up. Especially on the sections where the UV map kind of ended. There were a lot of gaps on the undersection. I don't have any shots of that presently, but take my word for it. It looks like a whole concise piece instead of a segmented texture. But the bot symbol is, not a paste over, which, oh god, that is hideous. It's totally the wrong color red. It's too bright, and Prime's red is too dark. Oh god. Yeah, the bot symbol has been decreased in size, and it's just a white outline over the red armor, which I think looks so much better. I think I nailed its position and everything. Really nice. Now for the back, wow, that back section, it looks so much more natural. That scratching in there, oh, looks so good. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, and see that section right beneath his back pads, I was missing a section there. That's supposed to be red, but it's silver. So, guess I missed that. Did I have models when I was making this? I can't remember. That was so long ago. Either way, got this now, so even better. And it's a little tight to see, but he's got a wonderful scratch job on the piece below his fuel canister. You can't see it in depth, but trust me, it's gorgeous. You can see a little bit of it, but it looks so natural. And, bit of an enhancement, he's got the holes on his back there. Really minor, but again, sometimes it's the minor touches that really make a skin shine. Well, moving on to the arms. The general design is about the same. Don't think a lot's different here. I copied over the hand scratch job from the original skin because, it looks great. No sense not using it. I think I actually got the blue hands to work, surprisingly enough, because I wasn't sure if they would, but apparently they did. Oh, yes, arms. Look at the upper portion of his arm there. You see how pitch black that is? Yeah, that's wrong. That should be colored. And I fixed that. Honestly, there is so much stuff I don't know how I missed. guy. I don't know how I let that go, because that's not supposed to be pitch black. It's supposed to be colored. I don't know. The triangle and line symbol is about the same. I think it's colorized on the armor, though, so it's not a paste over. I guess that one wasn't either, but the colors are better, I think. They've done more of the red than what the original was. Armstripe is about the same, except he's got some better scratching that isn't overly bright. As you can see, he's got that bright white for his scratching. Not a good look. Don't do that. He's even got it on his chest doors. Ugh. Yeah. Not pretty. I think I upped a bit more scratching on the hands. Yes, I did. Anyway, I think that's it for the arms. Moving on, we have the legs. Now this is still generally about the same, I think. It's obviously a lot brighter. The color has still been changed, and I still decided to keep the side of his leg there blue, because I know it's a cheat, but having that red would just look wrong. Wouldn't it? You agree with me, right? Having that red just isn't G1 Optimus for me, so I have to cheat it this time because it's no. Anyway, his leg side has a significant scratch job, as you can see. Yeah, I really don't have a lot to say here. I thought there'd be more than this, but I guess there isn't. I think most of the changes are probably would be noticed in the enhanced video specifically. There weren't a whole lot of G1 changes, but there were a lot of enhancements, but you better believe it. Oh, but I do remember his leg panel on the inner section of his leg has a bit more scratching, so it doesn't look so bland. Because I thought it looked too clean compared to the rest of him, but yeah, I think this worked really well. I think I've covered about everything with regards to Robot, I think. Thought there'd be way more, but I guess that's mostly enhanced related stuff. Oh well, no matter. Like I said, great skin, diffuse is done, normals are done. It's just spec work. I hate spec work. It's so boring, but I'm still trying to work out what I'm gonna do with that, so I'll get to that, but I need to move on to something else before I lose my mind. Yeah, that's his robot mode. Let's move on to vehicle mode, which also has had some pretty significant changes. And here we have the new and improved truck mode for G1 Optimus Prime. I may have overdone it on this one. I mean, enhancing this truck mode, I went probably way more into it than I probably should have. I'll spare you most of the enhanced details this time, but there was a lot. I was torn between different options and kept going back and forth, but it's good. It's really good. But yeah, this is what you're getting. This is what you were going to get. Ew. Okay, so main issue number one. The style of the texture for the older version was really rough. I don't really know how to explain it, but we'll just look. Look at the styles. The style of the original skin has this weird quality going on. You see, yeah, pixely, isn't it? It's pixely, it's too bleh, too ugly, too bold, too highly contrasted, I guess. This was based off of the texture of the standard Dark of the Moon Optimus, so, you know, it was already colored, so you have your red and your blue. You know, didn't look great when trying to adapt it. However, the new one uses the textures of the Dark of the Moon multiplayer Optimus. Some of you may not know that the Dark of the Moon game had specific textures for the multiplayer characters, and that one had a much better, cleaner texture quality, right? You could probably see it a little bit. It's just so much cleaner, and totally made the right move in basing this skin off of that. Of course, I still had to blank it out, get rid of all the flames and all that, and make a whole lot of various changes, including the addition of the bolts. Yes, I added the bolts. They were originally just in the normals, and even then they weren't exactly accurate, but here, I'm like, no, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right. So, I ended up counting the bolts, making sure I got the number and the alignment right. That's, you can bet I lost my sanity with that one, but, oh, man. There's a lot here. I think even in general, the blank job for this skin is so much better than what I did before. So much better. There were a lot of changes here, but I'll stick to the G1 changes. You'll get your enhanced video soon enough, don't you worry. As far as changes I can see, or remember, the bot symbol, okay. Oh, God. That one was another paste over that is so ugly. What was I thinking with that? The color is all wrong. What was I thinking when I was making this? I honestly don't know. That's so ugly. I don't remember what happened between me skinning then and me skinning now, but I would have never have let this slide. The bot symbol, I was kind of torn on this. Part of me thought, you know, where does this go? Should it go on the front of the sleeper cab or the back of the sleeper cab? Because the sleeper cab, I thought, you know, I was a little confused if the door was near the front or near the back. But I eventually found out it's both. It's on the back on one side and on the front for the other. So, seeing as this model is mirrored, I had to decide what looked better. And it was a very close call between what I have here and going with what he had on the other side. So, I eventually decided that the bot symbol looked better near the front of the sleeper cab. So, I decided with that in mind, you know, let's put the door near the back, because I think that was also it. I liked the door on the back. It just looked better to me. So, it was a little touch and go there, but I decided, you know what, let's go with that, put the bot symbol on the front, and I eventually settled on it. So, that's what we have here. Obviously, the color is much better. It has a much more natural G1 red, and the stripes are a lot darker. The original was quite a bit white, and oh, you can see that contrast coming through back there. That is not pretty at all. And I missed the, and the keyhole is brightened up. Oh my goodness, I didn't even fix the paste over pieces? What was I doing? What, seriously, how did I let this slide? Did my standard of quality drop so low? What the frick happened? God, what was I making back then? It's garbage. Anyway, I think the stripe moved up maybe a little bit. Yeah, I think it lines up pretty good. Again, overall it's a texture change, the addition of bolts. Well, there'll be a lot more to go through when I cover the Enhanced Prime, whenever that's gonna be, but I'm sure you could see a lot of changes even without me having to mention them. Well, here is a side view. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I did a lot here. Probably way more than I even remember. Okay, seriously, how did I let that go? How did I let the pieces on the door get brightened up and not replace them? Good golly, this is just I'm embarrassed, honestly. I'm really embarrassed with this one. I missed a lot. I don't know what I was thinking, but apparently I wasn't thinking enough. I suppose there isn't a whole lot to say. Most of the work went into enhancing it, but again, we'll cover that in more detail when I get to that video, whenever after the G1 pack's done, which can't be soon enough. But I'm sure you could see a lot of the changes, even without me having to mention them. I think that's about it. Not a whole lot of crazy changes, I suppose, but what was done is probably so minor you'll never really notice it, but, you know, I'm happy with it. I think this is my definitive base for Optimus. I'm looking forward to making some new stuff with him. But with all that mentioned, let's hop into game and take a look at his truck form there. Alright, let's go have a look at that truck mode. Optimus Prime, transform, and roll out. Oh, it's beautiful. Oops. Easy, Optimus, easy. You know what I think of when I look at this? Drift saying, that is Optimus Prime. And this is Optimus Prime. I think I nailed this one. Oh, the red. The red and the stripe just, oh. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Oh, you can see the normals on the bolts there. Very nice. God, what a beauty. So happy with this truck. I don't think you could get any better than this. Alright, well, I think that is all I have to say about G1 Colors Optimus Prime. Now, there will be a gold version to go along with this, but that still needs a little bit more work. Plus, I'm losing my patience with it, so I want to go and do something else before I rush it and make it bad. But yeah, there will be one, but this skin is beautiful beyond words. This is just magnificent. I love it. I think you're all gonna really enjoy it when it gets done. Whenever that's gonna be. Alright, well, that is it for Optimus Prime. Next week, I'm gonna try and do an updated version of the Omnibots, if I could get it done in time. Might be a video for that next week, might not. We'll see. But there's actually some changes coming to those that are quite welcoming, because those were pretty bad too. Anyway, I will see you next week. Till then, later.